Hey y'all, it's Annelies and I am back from ACTF 2018. This year it was held in the freezing cold Spokane, Washington at Gonzaga University. I've been back for a couple of weeks now, and now I think it's finally time for me to tell you guys my thoughts on this year's festival. Now right off the bat, if you are confused with what ACTF is and why I'm talking about it and all that stuff, that means you did not watch my ACTF 2018 excitement video, so I will leave the link for that in the description down below because I talk about what ACTF is, why I'm going, just my history of the festival and all that fun stuff. But to get started, just as a brief reminder, ACTF is the American College Theater Festival. That's something that I went to. I was nominated as an Irene Ryan Scholarship nominee. I was nominated for the Irene Ryan Scholarship competition, let's put it that way. So I was going to compete in that, as well as there's different audition opportunities, workshops you can go to, shows you can see, all that fun stuff. We were there for a week in Spokane, and it was, honestly, it was a really great time. It was different than any other ACTF I had gone to, because obviously these experiences are all gonna be different, but it was different and not in a bad way. So with this being my fourth ACTF, I've kind of learned now that not every festival is the exact same. However, there are a lot of similarities and things to look out for, things to prepare yourself for. So with this year, I was preparing for a certain amount of things and like, let's just talk about it. So with this ACTF being my fourth ACTF, I've kind of learned the ropes a little bit of maybe things I should expect, things I should look out for, but yet I know that not every festival is going to be an exact match to the last one I went. So it's always keeping you on your feet. When it came to this year, this is the coldest ACTF I had ever been to. I wore this with another jacket over it, and then I wore a sweater underneath and then my shirt. I wore these gloves, but then gloves underneath them. I would wear a big scarf like this, a beanie, a headband, my snow boots, and then like leggings or joggers, and then snow pants over it. Like, it was so cold. I think I was getting like early onset frostbite on my pinky because it was just always so freezing cold and so painful. I think that's what I hated about it, is it was just painful. But otherwise, the snow is beautiful, the city was really pretty. That's one thing I like about going to this festival, is that you get to explore different places. The past 4 festivals have all been at places I had never been before. Being able to explore the campus, see just different colleges that you might want to go to, see different climates and different cities that you might want to live in. I know I will not want to live in Washington in this lifetime, just from my experiences now at 2 ACTFs in Washington, but it was still a really fun place and a really beautiful place to be. I would say my ACTF this year was really focused on like competitions or auditions, because the 5 like main things that I did were all like competition audition based. So the first thing I did was the Irene Ryan Scholarship audition, then I did the Musical Theater Scholarship audition, and then I think the order of events went next was the Improv Olympics, then the Open Jar audition, and then the Tech Olympics. But those are like the big highlights of my ACTF. So starting with the Irene Ryan Scholarship audition, that was like the big thing that I've been waiting for so long to even be nominated for the competition. So when my time came for that, like everything's leading up to this, you know? I actually wore this shirt. It's real cute. I'll insert a picture of my partner Spencer and I here. We looked great. Our round was at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So luckily it wasn't bright and early in the morning and I had to like be stressed out about being tired or getting enough sleep or whatever. I was able to be kind of relaxed, explore the city a little bit. That day, like Jareth, Chris, and Brandon, 3 friends of mine, we like went around Gonzaga University, like played in the snow and like saw all the icicles and threw snow into the ice lake, and it was like, it was a lot of fun. We were just kind of goofing around, exploring. But then my round came. Spencer and I had been able to practice a couple of times and we felt really confident. We didn't want to like overrun our scene. We were second in our round. That was like, at least got it over and done with, and I wasn't sitting there with my nerves or anything like that. And I definitely was nervous. I normally don't get nervous before performances, and so I just get like excited. But I think I was like excited and a little bit of nervous. But we went on stage and I felt really confident starting. I did my monologue. It went super great. I was so happy with it. And then we did our scene and we freaking crushed it. Like, that is the best that entire package has ever gone. We performed it at our evening of scenes. Our evening of scenes at my school is like the night where we raise funds to go to ACTF and we perform the stuff that we're going to be performing and competing with at the festival. And it like went better than the evening of scenes. A lot of my friends from my school were there watching our round because it's open for the public of the festival to watch. And they said, you know, it had improved so much, but not saying that the last time it was bad. bad, but it had just gone so much farther and improved so greatly, and we killed it pretty much, which I was super happy about because that's exactly how I felt. We got done on stage, and you know, when I said thank you because the scene was over, applause and like a rush of relief just went over me, and I was just so happy with it. And I remember looking at Spencer like, yes, we did it. And we walked off the stage and we went out, and then they have a respondent who kind of gives you feedback or notes or whatever it may be, and they are trained the same way that like the judges are trained for this competition, so they kind of know what they're looking for. And he gave us a lot of great feedback of pretty much just like touching on the things that we had been working so hard, the little nuances here and there, saying he loved the contrast of my two characters for my monologue and my scene, which made me really happy because that's something that you want those two characters to be different, and seeing just kind of like the range that you can act in. So he really liked that. He really liked the scene. He thought it was a really good scene, as well as he really liked my monologue, and he told me like that's a monologue that you can be using for a while because it suits you really well, and if you have more time you can like even work on little things here and there, just like expanding the character so much more. And I only had a minute to do it in, and that's a comment that he made was, you know, it was such a short amount of time, and so you were talking really fast, but I talk fast normally, but he wouldn't cut anything out of the monologue to fit it more comfortably in that minute time slot because he just thought everything was really important, and I hit a lot of the good notes in the monologue. That was just nice to know that somebody else felt my pain of the time constraint, but you don't want to cut anything, and he thought I made the right choice. So that made me really happy, and I just felt super happy and confident with what we did, and I was really proud of the work that we put in, because the biggest thing that you have control over is what you give to the auditioners or the casting directors or the judges or whatever it may be. It's what you present to them, and I was proud of what we presented. We did all the work we could to put forth our best efforts and our best selves, and we did it and we crushed it, and I was so happy and proud and like thankful for all the work that Spencer had put in working on this with me, and so tirelessly working on all these different little notes that we got from our professors. And I walked off that stage proud of what I did with no regrets, and that is the biggest thing too, because if you have regrets, then if you don't make it through to the semifinals, then you're gonna be like, well, you know, if I would have done this differently, maybe I would have gone through, and those things just rattle through your head, and it's not good because it will destroy you of going, well, what if I would have done that, and what if I would have done that, because there's no use in doing that, but your brain is just gonna constantly go, 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 go. And I had an experience recently that, for something unrelated, of like, what if I would have done something differently, and like it made me have a lot of sleepless nights, not gonna lie, because your brain just goes and goes and goes. But in this case, that was not the case. I was so happy with everything that we put forth, and I don't think it could have gone any better than it did. Now, in case you guys are wondering, we did not make it to the semifinals, which of course is a bummer, but out of a group of 240 people, one, it sounds so cheesy, but it was an honor to be nominated, and it really was, because it's something that I've been looking forward to have the opportunity to even be nominated. And when I got it, that just said so much to me as a compliment to me as an actor. That meant a ton. But then to be able to even perform at the festival too was a huge deal. So somebody from my school actually did make it to the semifinals, which is the first time that's happened since my first ACTF, when I was a partner for my friend Walisha, and she made it to the semifinals, which was really awesome. And that was a really cool experience. But one of my best friends, Zach, made it to the semifinals, and it was so exciting because he represented, and him and his partner Bailey, they represented our school so well, and they put such hard work into their scene and their package, and went so beyond anything that I've seen them do before in their acting, and I think they both really grew as actors. So it was very exciting. They unfortunately did not make it to the finals, and I could go on about that. I think they did great, and it's just really exciting to see that my school, ARC, is being represented in the semifinals, and like we're moving up. You know, we're moving up. We have a lot of great talent, so it was cool to see us represented. So the next thing that I did was a musical theater scholarship audition, and that was on Wednesday, and it's something that I was preparing for Open Jar, which I'll get to in a minute, but I was preparing for Open Jar with this song, and it needed to be a certain length and whatever, and I found out before we went to the festival that my song fit in the requirements for the musical theater scholarship audition. So the way that I kind of saw it is, why not seize the opportunity while it's there? I have something that works for this audition. Why not just kind of throw yourself out there in as many opportunities as possible? So the day came of doing the song, and I wasn't as nervous because I wasn't like really jazzed for it. I wasn't like riding on this and like, oh, I want this so bad. Like, of course it would have been nice to been able to proceed, but I know that I'm not a strong singer, and that's something that I am working on, and that's why I go to vocal lessons, and that's why I go to vocal therapy, and I work on my voice, because it's something that I want to be stronger in that, because right now I feel like I'm stronger in acting and in dancing. Musical theater scholarship auditions came up, I was more just nervous to sing in front of people because that was the first time that I sang a song that I had prepared in front of a group that large, and there were probably like 30 people in the room, maybe more, as well as that is the first time I had sang that song in front of anybody besides my vocal teacher. So that was a new experience, and it went okay. It didn't go terrible, but it didn't go great either. And the first problem was that I started on the wrong note. I knew I did, and I started and I was singing it and I was like, okay, the first verse, something doesn't feel right. Second verse, oh, something's definitely wrong. Third verse, I tried to fix it. Fourth verse, no, it was all over. And it just kind of went downhill from there. It didn't go as bad as I think I'm making it sound, but like the pitch I was in was way higher than it was supposed to be. And I ended in a really high note, which are not my strong notes, so I didn't end that strong, which was a bummer. And then as well as when I gave the accompanist to my music, I clearly must have not explained the tempo correctly because the tempo was so slow. The song kind of goes like this tempo, and then it picks up to kind of so like that's the tempo, and it was very slow and it was dragging on, and to hold those notes were really hard, and then there's a long note at the end, so it made that note especially long, and so that was another issue. But after I got done singing, and I felt proud of myself for even putting myself out there in something that I'm not confident in a new experience, kind of just throwing myself out there in the deep end. So in this competition they also had respondents, which was super cool because this is the first year for this audition that they've ever had that. So I got done with my song, I was second to go again, and I mean, I'd rather go first, honestly. Like, I'm the type of person, I'd rather go first than last so I can just get it over and done with. So the respondent, the first thing she says was, okay, how do you feel about that? And I was like, I feel okay about it. Like, I'm not super happy with it, but I'm happy that I did it. She was like, well, what's up? So I told her all the issues that I had, and she was like, I would have never expected that because you were so committed. And she really complimented me on my commitment and my characterization and my choreography, which made me so happy because one, the choreography I was really stressed about too, but also that's what I have the control over is good choreography, commitment, and like strong characterization, because I know I'm not a strong singer right now, and I hope that one day I will be, but until that point I can't make my voice magically better at a certain audition, but I can be extremely committed, I can be as much of that character as I can possibly be, and I can have dynamic movement that help all those parts. And later my professor who saw that audition also complimented me on my choreography and my commitment and stuff. That made me really happy because once again, I did the most of what I could to my ability at that time. Put it forth to the judges. No shocker here, I didn't make it to the semifinals, but I wasn't expecting to anyway. I was just kind of like getting my jitters out for the audition that I was gonna have on Thursday for Open Jar. But overall, I was just proud of myself for doing it. So then I think it was that night was the Improv Olympics, which is pretty much something that this is like the first time that they set it up. They always have some sort of improv night, but we got a group together from our school and they have like different like improv events and there's different judges and all that fun stuff. Pretty much it's just a fun night of improv and it went really great. We didn't win, but like I felt really good, and to say that we had never really worked together as a team before that night in the sense of improv, we had never improved all together. I think it went really well and people were laughing, people were really enjoying it. I had people throughout the week give me compliments on the improv night and saying, hey, I saw you, it was super funny, or I love this moment, or whatever, which is really cool because that's what I aim to do when I'm acting or performing, is to entertain and have people have an enjoyable time. And that's the same reason why I make YouTube videos, is I want to entertain people and I want people to have an enjoyable experience. And so knowing that I made some people happy or made some people laugh made me feel really good. And I was just proud of us as an improv team that we were able to throw it together and like make something good. Was pretty cool, like improv skills to the max. So on that same day was actually this workshop that was called Broadway Boot Camp, which is a workshop that is held by the Open Jar auditioner person. So this guy Bradley Czar was the one who was running the Open Jar audition. He's a dancer, he's an actor, he's a singer, he works on Broadway, he's been on Broadway a ton of times. He also works for the Open Jar Institute, and this year he was the one facilitating the audition. And so the Broadway Boot Camp workshop was him teaching us some choreography that you could go to even if you weren't auditioning, but I like going because it kind of gives you an inside scoop on how this guy likes to choreograph and maybe how he directs and just his personality, as well as, you know, the day that you're auditioning, which is nervous enough, you're not like surprised at that, oh, it's a new person that I have to get to know, you know? So we did the Broadway bootcamp workshop, which was a ton of fun. I made a friend, which was really nice. And then we learned choreography from the Broadway production, or it was the Broadway touring production, I'm not sure, of The Drowsy Chaperone, which I've never seen the show, but it sounds like a really fun show, and I've had people say that I would enjoy it, like friends who've seen it, they're like, yeah, you would enjoy that show. And so I hope to see it one day, but the choreography was so much fun, and it was so cool because he was the dance captain in that production, and he taught us Broadway choreography, so just to kind of get a feel of what they're gonna expect for you, what Broadway auditions or what Broadway casts are gonna expect from you when it comes to choreography, that was just like a cool little inside scoop. So the next day was my open jar audition. Got there, and it started at 9 a.m. I got there like a half hour before so I could warm up and all that fun stuff. One of my friends from my school came with me, Amber, so that was really nice, so I wasn't alone. And then the friend that I met the day before, she was also there. This audition consists of a song that you prepare and choreography that you learn. And luckily we started with dancing, because that is one, my strong suit, get all my nerves out and all that fun stuff. But then I feel confident after I, you know, hopefully crush it in the dance, and then that confidence might bring me over into my singing to be more confident in that, you know? So also to add this in, something that I asked at the Broadway bootcamp workshop when the guy had opened up kind of like a Q&A to ask him questions and stuff, I had asked him, not necessarily, should I give up if I'm not a good singer, but like kind of, you know, I'm not a strong singer now, should I not audition for this until I'm a strong singer, or whatever it may be? And he kind of said, you know, and this is something that I knew, but he was like, you know, if you're not a strong singer, that doesn't mean you should give up. However, you gotta really bring it in the dance department. And the scales are kind of uneven when it comes to the theater world of saying, you know, you could be a good singer, and so you just have to be like, I'm a good dancer. But if you're like not an okay singer, you've got to be a great dancer to be able to even that scale. Which, yeah, it's unfair, but I understand it, and like I get it. Like I feel like you can make a person a better dancer in 2 months easier than you can make a person a better singer in 2 months. So I, like, as a director and a choreographer and an actor, I understand where that uneven scales come from. So I knew that going into this audition, I would have to kill the dancing. And I'm very pleased to announce that I freaking crushed it. I was so proud of myself. So we learned choreography from Catch Me If You Can, which was so cool. It was from the song, I don't know if it's called In Living Color or Live in Living Color. It was such cool choreography. It was so much fun. And I didn't give 110%. I gave 170%. I gave 200% in that dance. And I feel like it paid off. We went in like groups of like 3 to dance, and then he pulled out our audition form and kind of watched us dance and all that stuff. So it was about maybe like 10 or 12 groups that went. After I got done with my round, and I was like the 4th group to go, and I got done, and there was a mirror in front of me, so I saw myself hitting all those marks, but I was just having so much fun with it too. So then when I got done, I kind of like walked back over to the group to wait, and I had a lot of people come up to me and kind of go, hey, that was really great, or you crushed it, you did so good, or wow, like I'm really impressed. And like my 2 friends were like, hey, you like killed it, which made me feel really happy, because of course you see yourself in the mirror, but I'm always worried of, oh, am I having a swayed view of myself? You know, it's nice to see an outside perspective, and to have a lot of people compliment me made me feel really good and made me feel really confident, because that's what my audition was riding on. I needed to bring it in dancing, because my singing was not gonna, you know, I had to even out the scale, and my dancing had to be up here, and I really think it was. I was happy walking away from that audition. So then the time to sing came up. I was kind of in the middle of the group. I walked in at my turn. I gave the accompanist the sheet music, and I explained to her, and I learned from the musical theater scholarship audition that the tempo maybe wasn't clear, so I made sure to point out a couple of parts where the tempo was, and she was like, yep, that makes sense to me. Okay, yeah, I've got the tempo. And then I went in front of him and I sang my song, and it started really great, and then it ended not as great, but still better than it did the day before. So was it the best way that I had ever sang that song? No. But this is only the 2nd time that I've sang it with somebody that wasn't my vocal coach, and I think it still went really good. It went better than the day before, and I got done and my friend was like, hey, like I was like brutally honest, like please just be honest with me. Like, how did that go? And she goes, it went good. And that's what I wanted. I wanted good. Like, obviously I always strive for excellence, but I think I'm down here. So to get good, like that makes me happy. It wasn't terrible, you know? And so I was done with my song, and she got the tempo right, and it was so perfect. And then I grabbed my sheet music, and he goes, very interesting choice of a song. And I just said, thank you, and then left. And, you know, I felt really happy with my audition, and I gave it everything I could. And exciting news is that I got an email yesterday, as of recording this video, I got an email yesterday saying that I'd been put on the wait list for the Open Jar Institute, which is so exciting because I wasn't even expecting that, you know? Knock on wood, like, please please, like, pray for me, send me your good vibes. I would, this opportunity is such a cool opportunity and I would love to do it. And if I don't get it, that's totally okay. And I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but I'm just really excited. And the wait list, I had a friend who has gone to the Open Jar Institute and he said in his group when he went, he was accepted right away, but he had a lot of other people in his group who were from the wait list, which is super exciting. So I'm hoping I get in, cross your fingers, you know, knock on wood, hopefully I get to go through. But that was just super exciting to get that email. Like, my heart dropped. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm on the wait. Like, what? Like, that's so crazy. So, and it said in there, you know, you showed a lot of great talent, so we're putting you on the wait list and you'll know by the end of March if you got in. So I will keep you guys updated on that whole situation, but still really exciting. So that was Open Jar. And then Thursday night we did the Tech Olympics, which is something, once again, we just kind of threw it together then. We weren't really prepared for it. I participated in the Tech Olympics, which was really exciting. I did like the stage manager thing, which you and a silent partner, so like they couldn't talk, but they had to help you. You like taped out a floor plan, and the guy said we did really good. We didn't get our scores or anything like that, but he said, yeah, you did pretty good. So that made me really happy because I'd never done anything like tech like that in a competition. That was cool, and it was a lot of fun. Like, there was maybe like 1 or 2 stressful factors from that evening, but otherwise it was a good night. And then the last day was just kind of a day used for adventuring around, exploring the city. The finals were that night for the Irene Ryans, as well as the award ceremony. We didn't win anything, but I think we all put, you know, our best foot forward when it came to the festival. There's like 3 schools that always just sweep the competition because they're really good schools. So we watched the finals, we watched the awards, and then took our escapade back to the hotel and left on Saturday. And that was that week. Throughout the week also, I only went to one other workshop besides the Broadway boot camp, and that was this one called Acrobatics, which was pretty much just like warm-ups and stuff like that, and like stretching, which was nice. I mean, I'm glad I went to it just to get your, you know, your body moving, and I felt like I was doing something. And then I saw 2 of the showcased productions. So like last year, if you guys have been following me for a while, you would know that I went with my production of Cabaret that was performed at my school. We were nominated to be shown at the festival, and then we got selected out of like hundreds of shows, and 3 shows go and like produce their stuff and take everything and all the costumes and all the actors and showcase it at the festival. So I saw 2 of those shows. One was called CSU Ferguson, and it was a devised piece, so they kind of like, all the actors and director and all that stuff, they came up with it together, and it was a really powerful piece. I enjoyed it. And then the other one that I really enjoyed was the Farnsworth Invention that was put on by Diablo Valley College. It was just super, super interesting, and they did it really well. And it's written by Aaron Sorkin, who writes a lot of film and TV. He wrote like for like the Newsroom and some other stuff. I loved it. If you are ever near a production of the Farnsworth Invention, go and see it because it is super good. The acting was really great in this production that I saw of it. I was just really happy that I got to see it. It was very interesting. But otherwise with this festival, like, you know, I saw the shows and I went to 2 workshops the entire week. I just felt like this festival for me, there weren't a lot of workshops offered or available, and there was, you know, they had a full schedule of stuff, but like Monday and Tuesday are really dedicated to the Irene Ryans, and so not a lot of other stuff gets scheduled on those days. And even still, like, just considering Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was only one other workshop that I wanted to go to, but like my knees were hurting really bad, so I couldn't go. Like, still, if I would have gone to that workshop, okay, 3 workshops that I would have gone to over the span of an entire week. The past couple of ACTFs, I've gone to like 4 to 6 workshops every week. And so, I don't know, I was kind of disappointed with the workshop selection, and that's gonna be always different, but like, I just felt like there wasn't even a good variety, or there wasn't, like, I remember my first time going to Washington for ACTF. There were a couple of times where I was like, ooh, which one do I choose? There's so many options, but maybe they're at the same times. But I didn't even feel like conflicted with any workshops. I just kind of like went to the first one, the acrobatics like warm-ups one, just kind of cause I was like, oh, this seems, I guess, interesting. I don't know. I just want to do something to like get my worth out of this festival. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting it. That's one thing I was disappointed about, and it's something that I've wanted to do, and I'm going to finally do it this year, is I'm going to write an email to the regional chair of my region of ACTF and kind of give him some feedback, maybe constructive or positive or whatever it may be, but just let him know as a student what I'm thinking and maybe what might be beneficial. So when it came to the festival this year and its location, it was a lot nicer than like the previous 2 years, kind of, sorta. So pretty much it was in 4 places. So the first place being like the main place where a lot of the competitions were held was the Doubletree Hotel / Convention Center. Then there was Gonzaga University, where the showcased productions were held at. And then there was the Bing Crosby Theater, which were like the semifinals and the finals at Irene Ryan's, and like awards, and like some smaller shows were held at. And then the Montvale Hotel, which is where some of the other workshops were held at, and auditions, and that's where like the open jar audition was. It was an interesting setup, and I have to say the first year I went to ACTF, it was like a perfect setup because everything, no matter what you were doing, was on the campus of Central Washington University, which is where it was held at. And that school was kind of built really nice for it because there were a lot of like big open rooms that weren't being used for classes, because classes are still in session this week, you know? So there was like rooms where you could do like physical workshops, whether it be improv or acting, because you need space. You can't just have desks there when you're in an acting class, you know? Or if you're doing a dance workshop or auditions, they had like a couple of smaller theaters and then one really big theater, so that was nice. But it was set up really nice for the festival then. But this year, like the hotel that was like the host hotel in the DoubleTree and where a lot of stuff was happening, luckily our hotel this year was only about a 5 to 8 minute walk away. But then the Montvale and the Bing Crosby Theater were about a 25-minute walk away. And then the Gonzaga Theater was another like 25-minute walk away in the other direction from the DoubleTree. So if I wanted to go to a workshop at the Montvale and then go to Gonzaga, I would either have to take a lift there or walk nearly an hour, which is unrealistic and a lot of walking, and especially in the frigid 20 below cold, no. And then especially with me, like I don't do good with the cold anyway. I walked a lot of places though because of the fact that I wasn't trying to spend hundreds of dollars on Lyft, and I was never like in a huge rush, and there wasn't a lot of steep inclines. It was a lot of flat ground, which was nice, but it's still, you know, really cold and hard to walk in the cold. So that was like a weird situation this year. I think if you're somebody who's going to go to an ACTF in the future, be prepared to spend money on Lyft, or like look in advance at the map of the city you're going to kind of see if maybe I do want to spend the money on Lyfts, or maybe I'm okay with walking. So what I kind of decided for this festival is that I was going to save all my Lyft rides for at night, or if I had to go somewhere in a rush. That way I wasn't walking in the dark, or at night is also when it got a lot colder, and so saving it for the colder times. But otherwise I walked a lot of places. It worked out well. It just takes a lot of time, and that's another thing that's frustrating. If I could give any advice to future ACTFs of where to hold it, make it in a place where it's all in one spot, because that would just be really nice and a lot more convenient for everybody. But hey, if you drive for Lyft in those cities, you're making a lot of money during that week, so I guess, you know, help local drivers. So I think that's kind of where I'm gonna like wrap this video up is, you know, I talked about some of my experiences and what I did and how things went. I think just as an overall bow on this topic is I had a really great ACTF. Maybe I didn't do a ton of workshops, but I still learned a lot of things, and I think that's what's really important about ACTF is that you learn things about yourself as an actor, about yourself as a person, about other people, about the industry, about your art, or, you know, if you're a technician or an actor or a costumer, anything, if you're a theater person, you learn so much about theater that may not be able to be taught in a classroom or even a workshop at that festival. If you are somebody who might be going to an ACTF in the future, or it's an opportunity that you can go, I say go. I think it's really important, and I've learned something either about myself or what I do every year that I've gone. It's really invaluable information. So I definitely recommend ACTF. Yes, can there be improvements? Absolutely. Anything can have improvements, but I think it's a great experience and a great opportunity. And this year it was a great experience, and I'm really happy that I went. I'm proud of everything that I did at ACTF. I had a lot of fun, and you know, I didn't take a ton of pictures because I was so cold, and like these gloves that I have don't work on my phone really. I wasn't on my phone a ton just because I was so cold and trying to keep my hands in my pockets. It was nice because I got to experience the environment. I didn't take as many pictures as I would have liked. I didn't take as much video as I would have liked, but it was nice being able to experience everything firsthand through my eyes. So that's, I guess, kind of it for this video. I think that I kind of touched on everything that I wanted to talk about here, but of course if you have any questions, I'll try to answer all the questions that I get, if I get any. ACTF was really great, and I'm really happy how this year went. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are new to my channel and you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing. My social media links are in the description down below as always. Otherwise, that is it for me. Stay beautiful, have a marvelous day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!